صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم وعلى إخوانه من الأنبياء والمرسلين علماء شرائعهم وعلى مشايخنا الكرام في الطريقة النقشبندية العالية خاصة على مولانا الشيخ نازم الحقاني. اللهم أدخله فسيح الجنان، اللهم اجعله في قرار ومعين، اللهم اجعله في عليين عند من أنعمت عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا. اللهم اغسله بسدر من سدر الجنة، اللهم أوسع مدخله ونور ضريحه وأكرم مرقده وطيب ثراه واجزي عنا خير الجزاء. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها والأبصار والبصائر وضيائها وروح الأرواح وغذائها وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا. رحمة الله تعالى وبركاته عليكم أهل البيت إنه حميد مجيد. أهل البيت رزقكم الله صبرا جميلا على ما أصابكم من قدره وقضائه والشكر والرضا والسلوان. اللهم نور قلوبنا بالشكر والرضا يا رب يا الله على كل حال، وحول حالنا إلى أحسن حال ظاهرا وباطنا، ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. The death of Awliya is a great disaster for the people of this world, because with them departs a great light which consists in the divine gaze on this earth. Into their hearts and their persons and the lighthouses that they are is taken away from our eyes, and therefore it is appropriate for us to mourn and be sad and be shaken to our core and to be worried. But at the same time, Rasulullah ﷺ gave us an adab, and he said, if any disaster hits you, then remember the disaster that hit the Ummah when I passed away. He said this before he passed away, to prepare us and to teach us that the regimen of this dunya is change and loss and separation. And as Maulana Sheikh said, Maulana Sheikh Nazim, Qaddasallahu Sirrah, he said that everything in this life, everything comes to an end. Meetings and reunion, and is followed by separation. And he mentioned even that, he said, between Sheikh and Murid. So where to turn now? And where to travel? To see whom? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has removed from this world that Qibla. And so it's appropriate for us to feel lost and at a loss and in mourning, and to mourn with expressions of grief in a way that Allah accepts and loves. As Prophet ﷺ taught us when he was saying goodbye to Muaz ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu on his way to Yemen, and Prophet ﷺ with his humbleness, he was walking on the ground and Muaz was riding, and Muaz was very embarrassed, feeling shy, and he kept wanting to come down from his horse, and the Prophet said, no, stay, and he was walking with him and talking to him with advice, and among that advice he was giving him advice to have husnul khuluq, that famous hadith which is in the Muwatta of Imam Malik, that O Muaz ibn Jabal, hassin khuluqak linnas, I mean, always which is the whole message of Islam. That the Prophet ﷺ said, I was sent only for that. يُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. And then among other things he said to Mu'adh ibn Jabal was that, Ya Mu'adh, it might be that next time that you come back to my city, to Medina, you will pass by my grave. And when Mu'adh heard that, he couldn't bear it anymore. He couldn't bear to hear that. To hear the words of Prophet ﷺ when he said, my grave. And it is something that the Sahaba and the lovers, they cannot imagine for them to have their beloved and the grave in the same sentence. Or death and their beloved in the same sentence. It's almost like inappropriate and wrong, or bad adab even, because the source of life is there, the source of light is there, and the source of tawfiq is there, and that can never die because it belongs to the world of akhirah and the world of ruhaniya and spirit is not subject to the same laws as the body, as everyone knows and must know and believe. This is a religion, as we said, this religion, yesterday we said this, is Iman bil Ghaib. So it is a test for our religion, because also it is connected to what we see and feel and touch. After all, this is what the mu'jizat are for. They are for the senses, to be shaken. And then Iman comes into the hearts of those who need proofs and who need signs. The mu'jizat are the great signs, miraculous signs. But those who have Iman already in their heart, they don't need proofs or signs. The sign is already there even before the Prophet ﷺ would open his mouth. If you saw his face, you would already know the news, as the Abdullah ibn Rawaha radiallahu anhu said, of the Sahaba, poet, say you would already know the news even before he spoke about Nubuwwah, the words of Nubuwwah and Risala. And the same with Awliya Allah, who are inheritors of Prophet ﷺ. It continues uninterrupted, but stronger even. But in the world of qawalib and the bodies and those forms that we are in, it is like a closure and an end and a termination. That termination is mournful even for the awliya of the Sahaba. They felt that shock. So Mu'adh ibn Jabal, he felt like he was dying when he heard that, and he was crying very hard, sobbing. And the Prophet ﷺ said to him, "Oh Mu'adh, leave that. That's from shaitan." So he was saying, don't sob and make a voice, because that voice is like, and this is a teaching for us, because it is for us to hear that hadith was spoken, more than Mu'adh. We, a million of us, cannot amount to one Mu'adh in Jabal. It is for us more appropriate for us to hear. And it was spoken for us to hear that what the heart and the eyes show of grief, that's the grief that Allah loves. Because it's from Sunnah, it's from Rahmah. Rahmah that Allah puts and that cannot be controlled. The tears of the eyes and the sorrow of the heart. But the expressions of the voice and the acts of the hands and so forth, and the flaying of that's Prophet ﷺ associated that to Jahiliyyah. And he associated the eyes and the heart to Sunnah. And that's what he meant. And he said, whatever this and this show, no problem. Whatever this, the voice or the tongue and the hand do, that's the problem. And that's what he said in another hadith also, is that وَلَا نَقُولُ إِلَّا مَا يُرْضِي الرَّبَّ. We do not say except what pleases our Lord, that our Lord and Cherisher, to whom belongs life, and to whom it goes back. He is the giver of life and He is the taker of life. So every moment we are thankful. Every moment He gives and every moment He takes. Allahu Akbar. But with Maulana, it is something that we are asking to be with Maulana, to be sacrificed for his grave, as the Sahaba, some of the pious of the early Muslims would say, and in front of the grave of Prophet ﷺ, my life be sacrificed for your grave, Ya Rasulullah. Because they could not imagine to see daylight after the Prophet ﷺ. Like Sayyidina Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu said, and this is narrated in Sahih Bukhari, that he said that when the Prophet ﷺ first entered Medina, it was as if the sun was rising for the first time over Medina. It was full of light, and all of the people saw it. The people saw it generally. It didn't just say the Muslims, that all the people saw it. And the day that he died, it was as if night had fallen over Medina, yani for the rest of the time. And it was the sun, because the sun of Maulana is stronger. The sun of Wilaya is stronger than the physical sun in the sky. And so the people are asking for that spiritual light. They notice that change in their physical world, and they are right to do that, and it is their right and it is appropriate. And therefore, what greater sadness than that? And it is a sadness on behalf, as we said, of the people of the earth, because as Allah said in Surah Al-Ra'd, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أولم يروا أنا نأتي الأرض ننقصها من أطرافها, like we read yesterday, last night, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, don't they see how we come to the earth? Yani we decree an events over the earth for the people of the earth that affect the whole earth. Because he said, نأتي الأرض, yani we come to the whole earth. وَنَنْقُصُهَا مِنْ أَطْرَافِهَا, نَنْقُصُهَا مِنْ أَطْرَافِهَا, and our action and our decree and our event that we dictate for the earth is that we shrink it from its all extremities. We cause it to lose some of its extremities. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, this ayah means the death of those who know Allah, the death of the knowers of Allah, meaning the death of Awliya, the death of those who are close to Allah, because Allah loves them, and for their love, then there is love for the people of the earth. And when they are lost, when they are taken back to Him, and they are taken away from the people of the earth, the people of the earth are bankrupt, they are in great loss. And that's the shrinkage of the extremities of the earth, because the whole earth benefits. Like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called the Kaaba the Qawam al-Ard, the support and mainstay of the earth. Is benefit for the whole earth, for the whole people of the earth. And Awliya are even more precious than the Kaaba. As Prophet ﷺ himself said, how much more the believer is precious to Allah than you, O house of Allah. Although you are most honored and beautiful. Allahu Akbar. So we are right to mourn Maulana, we are right to feel sad and to feel at a loss and sorrow. But we say only what pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاللَّهُ يَحْكُمُ لَا مُعَقِّبَ لِحُكْمِهِ. But Allah decides, no one can object to His decree. وَهُوَ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ, and He is quick to reward and judge. And look at the signs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us, that, as Maulana Sheikh Hisham said, that when Maulana was buried, first of all, at the moment of his death, when the doctors were deciding that they were going to stop the machines or the respirator or whatever, even before that time, Maulana passed away. And his heart stopped, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused his heart to stop, although the norm in such cases is that it continues until they stop the machines or whatever. But Allah took away that decision from the mortal hands and kept it for himself. He said, no, I decide, not you. And gave us a visible sign. And when they buried Maulana, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, although his grave had been prepared to be 3.5 meters or up to 4 meters long, and you know that Maulana was of average height, or more or less, and when they put him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increased his physical body and filled the whole grave, so that as if his feet seemed to be, the grave was not enough to contain him, even to his feet. So that means that's a sign also, a sign that from the people of paradise, because the people of paradise will have the same stature as the 60 cubits of Sayyidina Adam. This is in Sahih al-Bukhari, that Allah created Sayyidina Adam 60 cubits high, and that is because He created him in paradise. And that, the ulama said, is the stature of the people of paradise. And so this is why the Salihin, in every period of history, they would give the Anbiya and the Awliya graves that are larger size than normal, larger than human nature, to remind people of this sign. And these are people of paradise. And this is the stature of the people of paradise is beyond this world, the stature of normal. And also against the norm, the rain that happened, as it never happens in May. Maulana Sheikh said 42 years it never rained in May in Pugros, in Cyprus, but it rained on that day heavily. And when I heard that news, I was so happy, and I said to my heart, Ya Rabbi, send some of that rain to Sham, because they need it also. You know, those places are very, and how much they are suffering. May Allah reward their suffering and remove it from them without diminishing their reward. Ameen, Ya Rabbi. And bring them peace and health and prosperity and life and safety, Ya Rabbi, Ya Allah. People of Sham. And today we heard that it was flooded also with rain. Rain that such as they had never seen and never expected, because it never rains in Sham in May. Allahu Akbar. And not only that, but in the Haramain al-Sharifain. And look, all the places that are close to Maulana's heart were immediately Sari' al-Hisab, rewarded and gifted with a gift from the heavens. And also, as we said yesterday, it is a gift also of support of the stature and status of Maulana, of the Awliya Allah, because the kuffar, the sky never weeps over them, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمَا بَكَتْ عَلَيْهِمُ السَّمَاء. But the Awliya, that means that when the sky weeps, it is a sign of support and divine support. The sky weeps as is a sign of sadness, but at the same time it is a sign of rahmah, because that's the name of rain. And rahmah for the special holy places, beloved places, Cyprus, and then the Haramain al-Sharifain and Sham, the third of the three holy places. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us always in holy places, holy times, with holy people, in holy states, and holy remembrances. And alhamdulillah, Allah granted us life and breath and inspiration to come to a humble meeting, like Maulana was always saying, this is a humble meeting, this is a humble meeting, this is a humble gathering of 10, 15, 20 souls, or maybe 20,000 if Allah sends His angels. It's uncountable of zikr to read. This is the third of our evening gatherings, 3 evenings in a row following Maulana Sheikh Hisham's instruction and Maulana Sheikh Muhammad. Allah grant them long life and good health, and reward them for their sabr and their families, and grant them solace and consolation in the hour of grief. And all those who grieve for the loss and departure of our Sheikh, our teacher, the apple of our eyes, the light of our hearts, and the hope of our adab with Allah and the Prophet and the Awliya, Maulana Sheikh, our guide who redresses us, how crooked we are without him. But he deigned and consented to take us as his murids. As Sayyid Ahmad al-Rifa'i, radiallahu anhu, he said to his murids, tell me if I do anything wrong, correct me, and tell me, let me know And the murid said, out of adab, said, no, there is nothing wrong, oh our Sheikh. And he said, no, no, you must tell me, I ordered you. And he said, there is one thing wrong. The only wrong thing is that you have us for your murids and not better people than us. That is the only thing we see wrong in the picture is us. But Maulana took us in, and as Maulana, as Sheikh Bahauddin said, that you are all murshid, you are all Sheikh, you are all rays from the son of Maulana. And these are the words of Maulana. This is true, this is haq. In one of his Suhbas that he said, if you cannot be the sun that is reflecting the nur of your Shaykh, be one of his rays. Allahu Akbar. You cannot be the moon, that is the main reflector, the main mirror of the Shaykh, and be one of his rays. One of his rays is enough to bring guidance, to bring nur, and even without opening their mouths, as Maulana Sheikh Hisham said, the presence is enough of the murids of Maulana here, there, and everywhere in the world. Allah forgive us. Allah keep us in that circle of love for Maulana, of patience and perseverance and acceptance. And this is the beginning. This is why we call the death of Awliya Urs, marriage. Marriage is a time of celebration. As Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam, when his son was sick in bed, he was fasting every day of that sickness. And the sickness was increasing. And the son was nearer and nearer to death, and Sayyidina Dawood was praying more and fasting more and pouring ashes over his head and looking like he was himself, readying for the grave. But then when his son died, and on that day people were expecting that Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam would go fall apart with grief. If that had been the case before, and what would be the case when his son died? But when they saw him come out on that day, after his son had died, he was wearing his best clothes, he was wearing perfume, his hair was combed with oil and perfume, and he was looking so happy, like on a wedding day. And he said, why? Oh, Ya Nabi Allah, we were expecting that you had been so sad before, and now you're happy, now is the time for happiness. He said, yes, now is the time for happiness, because Allah has shown His qada and qadar, and I accept it. لا معقب لحكمه لا معقب لحكمه. Allah decides what He wants. And the state of the Anbiya, the state of wilaya that they are teaching is an acceptance with full rida and shukr. Rida and shukr and sabr. As Sayyidina Shaykh Muhyiddin ibn Arabi said, there's sabr, and then more than that to have rida, acceptance, and more than that to have shukr, and show happiness, the signs of happiness with shukr for the ni'mah of Allah, because for the believer everything is increase. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase us with the presence of Maulana in our hearts stronger than before, and his vision before our eyes stronger than before. Allah is able to change our eyes and our hearts to purity and to pure mirrors of Maulana's inheritance, Ya Rabbi. And especially, Ya Rabbi, we are asking you to support his inheritors who are carrying that heavy burden of the successorship of Maulana, which we are not qualified to speak or describe. All we know, we can say, is that it is heavy. It is not an easy thing, it is not a light burden. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala support them evermore with the wiratha of Sayyidina Maulana Sheikh, which is the wiratha of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for the people of this time, and to make us not impediments and obstacles for them, but rather helpers and obedient helpers and learners from their humbleness, which surpasses description, and from how they show us to put together a broken heart back together again, is something that cannot be described. And to accept, and Ya Rabbi, let us be with them, no matter where we are, no matter at what time we can be with them physically, but we are never far away from them. And to be under the light of that sun where there is no difference between dunya and akhirah anymore. Ya Rabbi, you are able to give us that. بحرمة الحبيب بحرمة الفاتحة. بسم الله.